And we are on Gem Fort for this one. It is a Reject's map pick, so let's see if they can start things off directly with a 1-0. Would give them a lot of momentum, of course, for the course of this series. Gem Fort, a map where you just want to hold on to mid control. Rico coming in on the right-hand side and answer to the mech on the left. I really like that mech pick. She's just super tanky, super strong at the moment, also with her newly buffied gadget. Got a little bit of a rework there as well. So she can be played even more aggressively now and can get her super back really easily. On the right side now also the kid. Again, a good answer into that mech. Just stunning her and making sure that she doesn't really stay in that mech makes a lot of sense.
It's interesting. There's more than one way to play Cat, so I think that the last pick may reveal what exactly Reject are going to go for. Also, just like this is quite contrary a lot of ways to how we've seen Reject play over the course of the day and how we've seen them play historically. It's just strange to see them go for something like so aggressive like this. Now here's the Mortis from ZETA Division that's going to be threatening the backlines, and I even think it should be able to deal with that Rico decently effectively. Look, if you can't break down the walls versus Rico, then you got to find a way to get in close range, and I think this is a solid method. I was more expecting something like a Lily, personally.
Given ZETA Division's profile, expect the possibility of Mortis on quite literally every single of our first 4 maps. Kaboom Canyon, if we got to a tiebreaker, would be crazy.
Wow.
But this is just who they are. They're doubling down on the aggression, but this also gives ample opportunity now for a 6th pick. Is there something out there that Reject feels can line up perfectly? Because they do have their flair of aggression. They've got the kit, the stun can go through. It's just a lot harder to land on something like a Shade when you're literally inside a wall. So I think these timings are going to be really important. That interaction is what I'm going to keep an eye out for.
This is yet another series where Starnova isn't banned in the global bans. In this one, she's banned through the regular ones, but definitely look out for her to come on maybe in the later sets. Now, I was hoping to see something aggressive also from the right-hand side. An answer to the Shade specifically is Trunk. Also, doesn't do too badly into that Mortis, dishes out a lot of damage, and only really Mac has some range to deal with this brawler. So I quite like that last pick from the side of Reject.
Yeah, it's a pretty good response into that Shade, especially if you can reliably hit the crit range, then you don't need to be so concerned about him. That is, of course, in spite of the fact that none of these walls are going to be coming down. Not a single brawler on the field right now can break them. Let's check out the early game interactions for Melty. So far, no super. Didn't really see the swipes that I was anticipating. Reject have all the position that they need, but this is such a curious layout because they need to stick around mid, but the best gem carrier that they really have is Levi, who's rotating off so frequently.
Especially with all the walls staying up, it gets real interesting. So the Cat going to be bouncing onto Mortis. The Vampire goes down, and the Tree Trunk will sprint his way right at Batman, the superhero, in a world of hurt right now, barely holding on, but does manage to get that hypercharge out of the interaction. Suzuku somehow still doing wonderful work. He's excellent on this brawler. I look forward to seeing him playing at this set, and I think very likely even more after the fact.
Okay, Suzuku, where's your angle on the right side? He's trying to bait Melty or any possible brawler out of the right side. It's not really going to work so far. Waiting for the act from Melty. This is just the setup. Waiting for the execute. Stetanto on the left side is going to be the first to strike. And Shu's like, fine, you know, you want to get in close range versus Trunk? I'll show you what happens when that happens. And Suzuku actually will pull off a successful interaction on the right side. And a nice defense for Reject so far, but what about the ball? 10 seconds to go, and doesn't seem like there's much priority on getting this countdown interrupted.
And now Setapo can just fully play defense. I mean, so much room to operate. Shu pops hypercharge, but hasn't dashed forward yet. Batman essentially has 2 lives. One goes through, the robot holds up, and Meg with a shield and 492 HP barely holds on, but nonetheless pretty convincing. Outside of Mortis banging his head against the tree in the early game, once he got those super cycled, it really was all ZETA Division.
Yeah, he's also able just to establish like a bunch of pressure on a single lane when he goes for it. I was impressed with ZETA Division. I'm still like curious what's going on with Reject because they seem so guarded about where they're going to place Melty on this kit. The early aggression for Suzuku goes sideways versus Shu, but Batman is able to take a position at mid. And meanwhile, Meanwhile, Melty's been on the left side, actually will be able to combine forces and get some decent damage on Batman. There's the kill that they needed, and this is why they had to go for such a wide flank.
Yeah, Trunk's such a unique brawler in the fact that it's a tank, but it has mobility, and on top of that, when it uses the mobility, unlike something like a Daryl, meanwhile, while you're literally moving, you're doing damage as well. Daryl just kind of gets from point A to point B and relies on the shotgun. Trunk, alongside a gadget that heals him, can take an incoming shade shot. I feel like for them to win this, Shu has to get the most value. It was the last pick in the draft. It's looking for good matchups, and now it's a gym carrier. This is just going to make his job significantly tougher.
It's going to be a full team wipe for Zeta Division. They have 8 gems in hand, only a couple more to go, and they're only looking at a 7-second difference. Possible push at the left side. I'm not sure how Reject are going to be able to get in here. They do have a hypercharge for Shu. That's really all that they can speak of. That's the stun that they needed on the Batman, and Shu closes in to acquire all of these gems. How is Suzuki going to be able to do this? Because Shitampo and Batman will have to fight a 2v3 if Suzuki truly wants to stay safe.
Levi lurking with this hypercharge, though, and needs to be careful. Going to be using it now and makes no contact. Literally 0 of them do anything, and this allows Shitampo to just slide through the wall, go right at Levi head on. That's exactly the fight that he wants. The shield preserves his life. Suzuki can slide in for an extra gem. Shu left holding the bag. It's just really difficult right now, especially with that miss. That's a huge utility opportunity exhausted.
Still waiting to see this hypercharge for Melty as he lurks on the right side. This is really curious for Reject because they've pretty much sentenced 2 of their players to fight a 2v3 for the entire game, and then they have Melty popping the hypercharge over here. Will that be enough damage to get rid of Batman? Yes, it is, but they're not committing on to Suzuki just yet. They're still thinking about Shitampo on the top side. It's going to be a big commitment and joinery, but I don't think that's really what they wanted. Shitampo should have been stunned inside of that wall. Now he'll get to escape with 4 HP and 11 gems for the team in total. 10 seconds to go. They cannot interrupt this countdown unless they take down either Suzuki or Shitampo, but they don't know their positions. Shu in with a hypercharge, manages to catch Suzuki on the right side, but they don't have enough damage to finish things off. It's a set for Zeta Division, and it looked like things started to come together in a huge way for Reject come game number 2. That's what we need to see in game number 1. And even still, it wasn't enough to shut down Zeta Division.
I think that was really winnable for Reject, and I think you started to see it. I think the biggest issue in that game number 2 was just Trunk did his job too well. He scooped up the gems, he got the kills early on, but because of that, Trunk becomes gym carrier, and Trunk, I think ideally, is taking those one-on-one interactions, popping the heal gadgets to go at enemies, and just was kind of awkwardly sitting there. I think Reject are still very much in this, but Zeta looked comfy for the most part, and my heart just breaks. You'll see it in the replay here in a moment, but just that 4 HP on the Shade. I mean, if Shade goes down there, that very well could have gone a different direction in game 2.
I mean, you know, what if, imagine, just a little bit more damage there could have been a much different game for Reject. Could have seen them come back in the next one, possibly. Look at this final interaction also. Things, if they had been done just a slightly different order, could have gone in Reject's favor, but I think just overall, this is much better for Zeta Division. Really disorganized also for Reject. Like, there are individual moments where things could have gone their way, but this is just not really how they play. They branched out of their comfort zone, and it hasn't really worked at all.
This isn't the first time we see Shitampo absolutely popping off on a Shade. As soon as the pick came out, first the Mortis, then the Shade, we already knew Zeta Division is playing on their comfort picks, and it really showed in their gameplay, playing super aggressively, and it somehow worked out. And yes, as Kenny already pointed out, that one situation with the 4 HP, if that Shade would have went down, then the countdown could have been stopped by Reject. So it's really just a second that's is still between Reject and the set win. So I do think maybe we finally have a 3-2 in our hands here today, or at least a little bit of a closer match than many of the matches in the quarterfinals. We're now heading over to Layer Cake. The first time we actually seeing the map today, and I'm hoping to see some more throwers. We didn't see them too often today. We had 1 barley set, 1 series set. I want to see some more of them.
I think Thrower's potential here, Zeta Division are actually a team that have experimented with Barry, not just on this map, but several other ones. So I'm curious to see if they whip that out. I don't necessarily see it being an early pick. I don't think they need to. I don't think the Barry stock, if you will, is so high to the point where you have to go at a 2-3 turn.
First selection in, it's Max. It was completely left open after the global ban phase, and it just makes sense as a mid here, in my opinion. It's so useful. You're able to get a couple supers off nowadays because of the buffies. You just like have such a huge boost after that hypercharge that you can get a couple out of it, and Gene just makes a whole lot of sense because, first of all, it's great. You can scout out bushes, but second of all, you cannot allow it to be paired up with that Max.
Maybe another Kaze coming out now. As Mortis spans out, you still need something to pick up that blue star. By the way, this is now ZETA Division's map pick, and they did a fantastical job at making sure that they're picking maps that their opponents are just bad at. This is also what Memeshi mentioned on social media before. We showed it earlier on stream, that he is now starting to ban brawlers that the opponents are good at, and also maps specifically catered towards the opponents. And Reject has a 0% win rate on this specific map.
This is a comp they're familiar with, though. The few times that they did, I watched it the other day. Grave, Doug, and then Kid on the other side was the combo, but I still think this synergy works really well. No Mortis, so ideally Doug in the past has been used to kind of counter out that brawler that's going to dive at you. This also prevents something like a Shade pick, I think, if they wanted to just pierce through the walls. It's corny at times, but the Gray plus Doug is awesome. And now on top of that, we're taking a Buffy Max, one of the most powerful brawlers in the game, and throwing it with it. And this just sets up perfectly. 6th pick thrower, I think it had to be at this point. It's just kind of a free slot, if you will, in terms of matchups on paper.
I like to see that. A good idea here from the side of Reject. They need to try something. As again, they didn't have the best chances on this map in the past, at least in scrims. Now ZETA Division, can they prolong their lead here, extend it to a 2-0? Really good comp on both sides, a bit more of a cheesy one on the right, but might as well work out.
I feel like we've seen a couple of interesting comps in a row from Reject. It just doesn't really scream, this is Reject. Like the stuff that they have been able to pull off successfully in the quarterfinals against Axis, who I think a lot of people had slated to win over them. We have a blue star for Reject so far. Now they just got to play defense. This one, this comp, I think, really relies, though, on being able to recover. So while they do have that blue star, I think that they should be able to snatch it back if absolutely necessary. The Grey Doug is absolutely a cheese. Just the question is, how quickly will they be able to get that Doug super, and also the hypercharge is what this really centers around.
Now Reject just walking down a tightrope on this right-hand side, the extra spawner going through, Yarn Balls being lobbed up by ZETA Division, so both ends have some pretty real win conditions here. I think a pull plus the team from ZETA Division is obviously what ZETA Division are looking for, and Reject going for the insured blue star, a double phase shift up gets them that, and on top of that, a great TP plus Doug. They're just trying to play defense, daring ZETA Division to go at them.
Here comes the hypercharge in super from Reject, and a whole bunch of nothing, basically, like threatening that they're going to take mid back, but no actual action. Still waiting for this Doug hypercharge, but still, again, Reject do not need to push in. Here's going to be the first move. It's a double stun. That's a Melty special. I mean, if anyone knows how to pull this off, it is him on this Gray. There's a historic clip of it, but it's only going to be ZETA taking this. A bit of control, and Reject still taking advantage of everyone from ZETA pushing in.
Love the idea, and now ZETA even changing it up. Ooh, but a nice tap onto Chitampo. They get that kill and extend to 5. This means Melty can headhunt, going straight at Gene, who in a one-on-one interaction normally wouldn't be able to do so, but Batman was forced to dive to save his teammate, and as a result, it was almost a checkmate scenario. They were able to ensure stars. Now with 15 on the clock, Shu with a little pop-off play, a hypercharge going down, and ZETA with a fat donut, looking for breakfast out here as they're trying to get one single tag.
Wow.
Can't find anything. Speed coming through, strategy going down, and once again, the map pick does not prevail. It is Reject stealing game number 1.
Maybe I shouldn't disagree with the cheese here for Reject, because if the comp is really just that good, then who really cares whether it is tailored to your needs? I think that in set number 1, we saw them play something that just didn't cater to their talents, and they weren't really able to play it. But this time, yeah, sure, I feel like a lot of people could pick up this comp. The only difficulty is I don't feel like everyone could draft it, and Reject have been pretty good at drafting exactly what they set out to achieve. That's going to be lots of damage on Suzuku right off the rip. And there's the initial speed from Reject, gets him in a forward position and snags the first kill on a Batman.
Yeah, say what you want, but the option was open, door wide, and Reject can just claim it, even though, like Sunny alluded to, this isn't a map they've necessarily practiced a ton, so for them to steal this would be tough. I'm seeing Batman on the bottom of the screen, at least in game number 2. Looked like he was alive and well in 1, so we'll be checking in on this. I'm sure referees will be handling this action, but that's very clearly a robot walking for Batman.
Yeah, okay, well, let's pack it up and do this again. Still, I want to comment on how Reject, this is so good for them in the last game. And I think they should be able to do it again. The only issue with cheese comps is that a lot of times the better team will find a way to pick it apart and find a way to undo the cheesiness. That's why we call it a cheese comp, right? Is because a lot of people can just pick it up. It's just a plug-and-play composition. But once you've played at the top level, you have played into this thing so many different times that you should be able to discern how to defeat it.
Very fair argument. Also received confirmation from the floor in Tokyo. Player's screen froze, so they're going to be working on adjusting that. As far as we know, should still be reject up 1-0 in this particular set. But again, I feel like one of the most interesting things with our new global map ban has been players aren't winning at a high percentage on their own picked maps. And I'm not sure what that is, because obviously when we throw in global bans and global map of these players, it's going to adjust how they prepare. I mean, obviously they're still playing the game, right? They're still competing against each other, they're still scrimming. But their thought process about what we practice, what we bring out, how many times are we scrimming each map, I think it's changed entirely. So coming into this, it was about a 47% clip. Now coming out of this, I'm curious after East Asia and North America what this looks like. Because at that point, it'll be a 2-month sample size. And I think that'll be pretty indicative of what's going on.
Yeah, and I think also it just kind of reminds me of most times when you see things come into comp, it takes a moment for players to really learn how to play it. Global bans are still pretty fresh, and it seems that things are starting to settle around, well, we're going to use it for target bans like half the time, and we're going to use it for the really strong stuff the other half the time. And I still think that there's room for that to evolve. But think about like back in, 2022 when Draft was first introduced, and it was still pretty fresh, and people just take it as an opportunity to get the brawlers that they want with no duplicates on the opposing side. But by the end of the year, people had sort of figured out the processes of Draft, and then over the next few years, we've seen it develop even more. So I think there's plenty of room for teams to actually get the upper hand from picking their specific maps.
Now, specifically on this one, as I mentioned before, ZETA Division has done a really good job at picking a map that Reject really didn't do well in scrims, didn't win a single time. So I'm so happy with them, actually. Picking a comp that is a little bit cheesy, but it's a huge surprise, and ZETA Division isn't ready for it. We just saw it in game 1 here. Reject actually takes it by playing a wonderful Grey Max Dog comp. Now, is it a bit risky to let Max currently slide through the bans when you don't have first pick? Yes. But do you expect to then Grey and Dog come in? Probably not.
I mean, it might not be at the top of mind, but in fairness, Reject in the few times that they did play this map, it was a comp they ran, it didn't win, but at the same time, I see it with my own eyes. It's something that even if you don't necessarily know the other team's picking, maybe banning one of the brawlers, even something like that. I mean, they do end up stealing Kit, which I think is part of it, but with how many brawlers are in the game, even with how many bans we've gotten, it's really difficult just to be prepared for every single outcome. I'm sure if you're ZETA Division, they very well might have known this was a possibility, but I think they also felt very valid in the sense that they could go against it. They went thrower 6 pick, seemed like that's something that's lined up when watching practices. It's something that they are not afraid of, serious in this particular region, especially. And like I said, ZETA Division have messed with Barry quite a bit, not just on this map, but others as well.
I think also, like, if we're just to go back to last year's edition of ZETA at the World Finals, something similar happened to them where it was just like some cheesy stuff. Hank came through numerous times. It defeated them every single time. This was versus STMN. It was one of the biggest upsets of the entire tournament, and it led to them going out really early on. So this is a weakness that they haven't entirely patched up yet. I think it's been smartly noticed by Reject, and it will be capitalized on for what I anticipate will actually be a set victory.
I think a very real possibility of that. It would be awesome to see Reject step back into the limelight here, especially in the 1 month where this region gets the luxury of being in person, where they've got fans behind them, where they've got a lot of experience doing quite well on this stage. I think it's just a really fun kind of change of pace here for us in the sense that these players get some big-time ramps. Not to mention, too, Tokyo is exactly where World Finals is placing, so maybe envisioning themselves with a bigger audience and even bigger stage later down the line.
Yeah, a little glimpse into the future here as we are looking at Tokyo's crowd, who have been showing up in great number today. Completely full house, completely sold out, and they're rooting here for their favorite teams today. Also, I just loved Crazy Raccoon in the match before. They're making so much noise, always dancing, always smiling. ZETA Division kind of doing the same here. Reject, also fan favorites. So our semifinals are really shaping up to be even more hype than the quarterfinals have been. Now, back to Layer Cake, we're at 1-0 right now for Reject. 1-0 though overall for ZETA Division, as they did manage to win set 1. And it was a very convincing one as well, 2-0 in the end. Reject didn't really look like they have the comp to best them. In this one though, their comp is definitely working out.
Not a single star for ZETA Division in game number 1, but thankfully for them, they've got a set lead. Once again, a repeat. It's going to be Levi scooping up that blue star. I think even knowing that he doesn't even necessarily need Gadget the other side, simply conceding. So we'll just save that one in the tank.
Okay, Reject can't afford to back up right now. Looks like that is what they're going to be doing. ZETA marching forward, taking a lot of damage, but no kill just yet. And here comes a combination of forces. Keep this Gene alive, and he has the pull. Goes for Shu, should be good. Blasted him away, and not enough time for ZETA to get substantial damage on him. They will be able to cycle some supers this way, but that did not really go the way that they needed. If they'd pulled anyone, ideally would not have been the dub.
Yeah, just an awkward interaction. I'm sure that's something that they just couldn't handle in terms of just immediate team comps. You can give the best calls in the world, but sometimes just by instinct, it's going to be a magic hand if you don't line up the shots, if you don't have the position. But now Melty diving straight at them, has the hot dog of immortality going to pop back out. A perfectly timed jump, though. Oh, and he got another one off in time, too. Doug is just cycling so many supers. The backpack gets pulled. This map is even more wide open, and that star still securely with Reject.
That's ridiculous, because not only are they playing this comp, they are doing it so effectively, something that you can't pull off a lot of the time. It's so curious to see Reject going for this of all teams. It is an underdog match for them, however, they're playing it so well. Here comes a hypercharge, and that's going to be even more hyper and supercharge for everyone on the team. Batman pulled out of position, not much that can be done, and everyone's idle for ZETA, so it beats me as to what's happening, but I guess I have a guess as to what just happened. Yeah.
Yeah, and once again, referees coming out, so not sure what's going on with the tablets over there in Tokyo, but ZETA Division having a rough go at it. It was looking like Reject were going to have their way in that game number 2. About 30 seconds on the clock, all well and fine. But just this interaction, ZETA Division have not been able to punch through yet. Even if they get something like a Gene pull-off, it's really difficult to navigate which of the brawlers they need to select. Because you've seen it, even if Doug gets grabbed, he's lined up those supers so perfectly. Gray can TP away. They've got things like that just in the disposal, too. So I think that's what makes it really hard. I understand all these picks. Again, ZETA, I don't really fault them for any of the brawlers, but just the way that they're going at Reject. Like you said, people have their opinions about Doug in general and how much of a skill expression kind of brawler he is. But say what you want, but don't hate the player, hate the game sometimes. Reject, they're playing it super well.
Yeah. They just understand how to lock this down. I do wonder how much they've scrimmed it, because I feel like it takes a decent amount of practice to be able to play this so effectively. But I think also this sort of lines up with them. I mean, if you're playing with supports like this, then this is pretty on brand for them. The double chained hot dogs is insane. It's a shame that there was a issue there at the end, because we saw some pretty darn good Brawlstars up until that point. I would anticipate, though, that this is only a minor roadblock for Reject, that they'll be able to deliver the same product once we get back in the game.
Absolutely. It's a shame that double Doug is just going to be erased from history, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'm still impressed with Reject so far. I think ZETA Division in set number 1, it was a really awesome set of gameplay, a good draft. But overall, just good stuff from them. I think Reject are in a spot where they still can get in this, especially if the set keeps going the way it is. I think Reject are going to make this one very likely.
I was always standing. What do you mean? Reject, I really hope they can bring this one back yet again, because it really looked like they had the set in the back already. Now, minor technical issues once again at the end of it, but I'm very sure they can repeat what they did already. Really a draft here in this one. I feel we also saw many missed supers from Kit, which is really the key. If the Kit doesn't perform well and shut down this dog, just teleporting through, Gray teleports every now and then, it's going to be a huge issue for ZETA Division in this one, and it showed. It was already.
Yeah, I mean, how are they going to be able to bring this together? It seemed like they were able to pull the Doug, sure, and then he's there, and they're like, shoot, well, we don't have enough damage. Blast him away, get him out of here. He's going to take us down in close range. So what do you do in this position if you are outdrafted like this? How can you pick apart such a synergistic composition? This might just be an outdraft that's enough to carry them to victory.
May I?
Yeah.
Just Sunny coming in. You don't feed the Grey, which they're already doing a good job at that. After all, it's ZETA Division, they're dodging like crazy. You make sure that your Kit always has super available whenever Doc comes through, because that Doc teleport was the big issue. In game number 1, we saw him take down 2 brawlers at the same time with a nice hypercharge. So a single teleport, 2 kills, that's just a huge issue on Bounty, where we usually only have about 4 or 5 kills in total.
Yeah, definitely an awkward interaction, just to say the least. I think it just takes a lot of prep work and a lot of heads-up play and being very, very intentional with every super that you click. Gadgets galore. It's one of those things where it makes it really difficult to get that gene pool, which is part of the reason they go for this, the constant poke damage. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if the other team's turtled in the back of their spawn.
Yeah, I think that's well put. That's what they should do. Hopefully they're listening, or hopefully they figured it out during the downtime. Yeah.
One of my jobs, so I'm glad I get to do that on the show as well. We're gonna head into a very quick break. We're gonna be right back. Stay tuned.
Wait,
600 trophies, dude. Calm down. Okay, I'm playing with a pro here, right?
Need to focus.
Looks good. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm here with Luffy, and we're just gonna have some fun together here with quick fire questions. You really like cats, right? What is your favorite cat meme?
I have one, like, you know the cat meme where the cat is like at the table, that he's like mad, I don't know.
Yes, I know that one.
Like,
amazing. We just conceded here because we weren't focused on the game. That's crazy. What does your mom tell other people you do? Is he a doctor, a lawyer?
no, she says what I do, I play video games.
Okay.
For a living.
So she's being honest. We're getting shot at by our teammate, by the way. I think he's not happy with us whatsoever.
He's tilted.
We're 600 trophies, dude. Calm down. Okay, that did not just happen. I'm playing with a pro here, right?
I need to focus.
You're too locked in on the questions, which is nice.
Yeah.
Honestly, I take that. What was the most pressure you ever felt before a match?
Maybe when I was starting, because right now I don't usually like feel pressure. I meditate before matches.
I think it's a great idea to meditate before a game.
Yeah, it is.
What are you meditating to?
Brown noise and maybe chill music.
Brawl noise?
Brown.
Brown noise, okay. I thought maybe just the lobby music to meditate.
Nah.
If there's gonna be a documentary about you or like a highlight reel of your life as a Brawlstars pro, what will be the final clip?
Maybe spending time with my family, I don't know.
Not you winning worlds or something?
After winning Worlds, spending time with my family, that will be the last clip.
That is very wholesome. Nice. We scored. I have some statements for you that I want you to rate from 1 to 10, okay?
Okay.
Edgar takes skill.
Kinda. Like, you can difference the good Edgar versus a bad Edgar, but it's not that hard to play Edgar, I think.
So from 1 to 10?
The skill base on like 5.
Okay. Ranked is harder than scrims.
Nah.
Draft diff is more important than mechanics.
Yeah, right now it is.
Ping is just an excuse.
No, it's not.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I played with 80 ping the first years of my career, and now I play at low ping, and there's a huge difference.
Just want to point out, I was star player. How does that happen when I'm playing with a pro?
I don't know. I'm not focused.
Living with Ready Set is delightful.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
1
It's
to
a cool
10?
roommate. 9.
9. Oh, you could do better.
Yeah.
We heard that. This was it already with quickfire questions. It was so much fun with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes! Oh my god. Hello guys, my name's Maria. Behind me is Bounty Hunters, and I have a challenge for them. They're gonna play 1 versus 1, but with blindfolds on. Communicating is key. You will be the eyes, you will be the hand. Three, 2, 1, go! They're playing Bull versus Piper. Oh my god, Mike! No! They lost! He's camping in the bush. 500 IQ. Oh my god, Piper has no chance. They are playing Piper.
I don't trust you.
Oh, he doesn't trust me. Match number 2. 3, 2, 1, go! You guys, you need to win.
¿Tú tienes un rango a la izquierda? Baja un poco y hago a la izquierda. Sí.
Whatever you're doing, it's working.
Sube, sube. Pegaditos, pegaditos. Ahora baja, baja,
You're
baja.
inside each other's brain.
Sí, botas, botas.
Too strong. Can I say something that helps them? He's there.
Tira, tira.
Yeah. I I feel like we're a team now. Yes, 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 yes. Spray, spray, spray. I think this is harder than we think it is. Because you can't see. Thank God they're pros. A última. 3, 2, 1, go.
Un poquito. Ahí, ahí, ahí. Ahora a la derecha, a la derecha, a la derecha. Izquierda, izquierda, izquierda.
And we learned today that Reddy is only a 9 out of 10 roommate. And if you ever play Brawlstars blind, you might as well pick Go. We're now in layer cake once again. It's 1-0 for Reject.
Okay, let's see if they're able to pull off the comp just the same as they were in game number 1 and game number 2 before it was taken back. The double dog will live in our memories, however, and Suzuku has been trapped in a block of ice, it would appear.
Yeah, definitely a tough beat. Hate to see it overall. Just tablets in Tokyo today, just really not working. A little frustration coming out of the players too. Hate to see it, but working through what we can. Obviously, we are in Copenhagen. If I could magically hit the fix everything button, I absolutely would. But
yeah, why don't you do that?
I would if I could, but I'm no 9 out of 10 roommate. I'm just
and see, yeah, you have to be at least a 10 out of 10 roommate in order to hit that. So if there are any 10 out of 10 roommates in the area, please come press the button because I'm not allowed to.
Definitely not. But we appreciate y'all being patient with us, hanging through. We want some good Brawl esports, just like y'all do at home. The players have worked their tails off for 5 months at this point now, and obviously a pivotal point of the season. But just as a reminder where we left off, it is Reject ahead in this set. They are down 1-0 versus ZETA Division, one of the top seeds in this region. ZETA Division, the stakes for them, looking to try and secure closer and closer to that ensured world final spot. We all know how dangerous the LCQ as an event can be, and if you're Reject, even scarier for them. They are trying to push themselves to an LCQ rather than maybe daring to go through a final month where they have to be perfect, or something like a Challengers where it's an additional event that they would have to push through.
Yeah, exactly. And against ZETA Division, I think it's more favorable to be on the ZETA Division side of the bracket than it is to be on the Crazy Raccoon side of the bracket, given that ZETA Division, I think, has shown more evident weaknesses than Crazy Raccoon have this year, though that is if we just conveniently disregard the part where Crazy Raccoon fell to rival. So so again, I think that you got to strike while the iron is hot. This is your opportunity. We'll see how it all transpires, just working through a hardware issue at the moment. It's been a little bit difficult to diagnose, but the folks in the back are doing everything they can to facilitate this monthly final moving forward.
Absolutely. Over in Copenhagen, vibes are still high out here. I'm still with my buds, and we're just, podcasting at times, still talking Brawl, some of my favorite things, so not the worst thing in the world. But I'm really hoping that Reject can push ZETA Division to the edge. Obviously, that goes against my prediction, but that's fine. I'm wrong all the time. What's one more for me? But Reject just a team that I really expected in the preseason to be top 3. Especially after we saw from them in the regular season last year, just a staple in that grand finals. And sometimes it literally just takes one player swap to change things up entirely. So this would be a nice one for them to grab and kind of just showcase what they are still capable of.
They're still sitting in 7th, still have a chance to actually qualify for LCQ. In this one, they just have to make it a little bit further and beat ZETA Division right now. That is super important for their journey. By the way, a lot of Challengers finals are happening this weekend as well. For Southeast Asia, Revenant X-Spark just got through. They qualified and are going to join 11 other teams in Istanbul where it comes to the finals. In South Asia today, also Zero Ping Merchants made it through. So I think there's not many more missing. The France finals are happening tomorrow as well. And after that, I believe we're pretty much complete. 12 teams will play in Istanbul, the finals, the Challengers, and we're going to find out who will join us for LCQ from those tournaments.
Then we get to start talking Turkey at that point. And you got to be the best out of 12 if you want to go to LCQ. I mean, that's, I think, objectively the most difficult route to a postseason, because then you got to make it through 1, 2. Well, actually, let's think about this. If your region has a LAN, then you go through that. Then you go to Turkey. Then you go to LCQ. Then you go to World Finals. That would be a true Cinderella story. And I mean, depending on whether we see Challengers in the future, I wonder if we will eventually see a team make that journey.
And some teams that have been playing in the World Finals consistently already will find themselves in those challengers exactly. We have Fennel that has to go through Istanbul, SK Gaming and Revenant X-Spark as well now. Super exciting, definitely tune in for that as well. Now Kenny, back to where we are at today. Already mentioned, ZETA Division now 1-0 up, but this win is so important for Reject. If they don't win this one, they're basically out of any postseason contention. SK Kalalas already fell in the quarterfinal. They were also still glinting at that LCQ slot, but now it looks like Rival Esports are most likely to take that one.
Rival Esports have got to be the happiest team in the world right now because they lucked out of that top 8 draw. And, you know, you just hate looking at the barrel and seeing a crazy raccoon after you made it out of the upper bracket and you're punished by world champions. It was just a really unfortunate set of circumstances. But the biggest name in the game is no matter who your opponent is, you just have to take them seriously and you just have to win. So Rival take care of business. That 1-point lead has now expanded and SKC are now in the back seat, just glooming, trying to hope that this rival composition goes down to CR. There's never been an SKC squad pulling for the other side more than in this next match.
Yeah, I think so. So, contingent on the outcome, we will see a lot of factors interdependent on each other in this part of the season, and we're not even in the final month, but things are just going that way. Things can be set in stone next month, just depending on how these semifinals and especially the bottom side of the bracket go.
Yeah, in most regions so far, we still have even world slots open. In East Asia, it's the same story, but it could be all decided today. Rival Esports wants to win against Crazy Raccoon, otherwise Crazy Raccoon basically locked in their world final slot, my bad. And ZETA Division at the same time, they need to make it to the grand finals now, and they're locked in then. So East Asia can basically cement things in stone already right now, today, whereas in other regions, it's still everything open in August, especially in EMEA, we just saw it last weekend. For the esports won again, that means that only the top 2 are locked in. It's the same exact thing as we've already seen in April. All other spots are still left open. So stay tuned also for August.
Absolutely. I mean, the stakes have never been higher here in Season 5, and I can't even wait to see what we get in Season 6. So match still going. ZETA up 1-0. Reject awarded game that they won earlier. Just catching in with us, perfect timing, because Reject have an opportunity to tie things up in the set.
Okay, waiting to see what kind of impact Batman can make. Has the super and ready to push in, but needs the synergy with the rest of his team to properly identify the target and punish. Nope, gonna join forces, become 2 throwers in 1 with all the healing in the world. Can they get something on Deshu? There's the shield and Reject. We'll take up a little bit more space, but that's about all for now.
It's just such a stalwart to try and get through. ZETA Division have so much work cut out for them. They basically just to hold this wall, hold positioning, and pray that they don't feed the Shu Doug super. Coach Sonny laid it out for you. ZETA Division can have a game plan, and they've had plenty of intermission to try and roll with it, but still, it's Izuku getting snatched.
Absolutely beautiful long pull from Melty, and it finishes inside of the wall, provides a slightly longer stun. But will we see the 3v2 ring true for Reject? Doesn't appear to be so, but they seem so comfortable just existing in this backline that ZETA Division cannot really crack this. They do have throwers, but there's so much healing for Reject that the DPS is lacking.
Absolutely. Now a hypercharge going down, so extra max speed, and now a hot dog going down too. Melty getting all up in the enemy's faces. He will respawn immediately, and Chitampo ready for fire. The pull goes through. Melty still stays alive, though. Had a super in the back pocket. That just goes to show how difficult, even if they land the pull, phase shift for Max. Doug has a super that literally keeps him immortal, and Gray, of course, with the TP. Reject are just going to have a leg up in every situation.
Oh my gosh. Here comes Shu once again, ready to pinch in Chitampo and Suzuku. Just bearing witness to all of this as Shu acquires his 5th star. 10 seconds now. Could be another one for Shu, but he has to stay alive. Batman gonna go for it. Nope, it just another star over to Doug. And ZETA have pretty much witnessed the slowest downfall, I would say, of any set. They knew that they were outdrafted a while ago, I'm pretty sure. And now we have seen the conclusion. Reject will finally get their hard-earned set victory after this Doug and Gray composition that I honestly can't even believe made it through the draft phase.
Stats are going to be out the window because of the reset, but I think if I remember right, it was 0-0 for both of those game scores for ZETA, right? That's pretty crazy, especially considering the tenure that roster has in this region, if not the world.
I agree. I think it's just really they had no entry point. Yes, you have a couple of throwers, but there's not enough damage. It's one of the criticisms of Sirius. I think in a lot of ways he's really just a defensive brawler because you can spawn those shades. Not really going to be doing much for you when you're facing piercing brawlers. You'll see it once again, though. Melty is just like putting on a masterclass. Gray is one of his just most relevant brawlers, one of his most well-known brawlers, and you empower this guy with a hypercharged hot dog, he'll absolutely wreck house.
In the end, Gene wasn't enough to turn things around. Usually a guaranteed kill, but it was more than just one kill that their opponents were ahead. Brawlstars was really crucial here for Reject as well. Picked it up with the max, and after that, they were basically just trapped in spawn, but felt super comfortable in spawn. So maybe not trapped, more like hanging out in spawn, you want to say. Yeah, they did a super good job at just letting their opponents come to them, fed super off of them. Really well played by Reject. So now, we're heading into Dueling Beetles. This one is now Reject's map pick. They just won on a map actually that they won never in scrims. 0% win rate for Reject, and they just smoked ZETA Division on it. I'm honestly stunned. It's super well done by Reject.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just one of the trends that we're starting to see. It hasn't been an overwhelming advantage, and you're even seeing this month that players are very clearly prioritizing across all of our regions having that brawler pick over that map ban. And I think that's part of the influence too. I mean, the stats just reflect it. Im's coming out immediately, so Dueling Beetles, keep an eye out. If you see Im's, Gray should be attached in your mind, and ZETA Division sure do love a Mortis, and I didn't see it in the ban stage.
Okay, Mortis clocked. He is in the back of our heads. How is he going to be supported? Also, could be coming up on this turn. And we also saw the bait and switch earlier with the M's first selection. It was immediately countered, or rather reacted to, by a couple of super tanky brawlers. Meg was one of them. The other was actually, in fact, Draco. And then it just forced a Gray on the opposing side that went absolutely nowhere. I absolutely agree with this max selection. I think it's what you have to go for. Is there a possibility of you being slowed by M's? Yes, but the benefits for the rest of your team absolutely outweigh that.
Yeah, Max is open, Max is going to get picked up. I think this pattern is something we're going to see quite often today. She was global banned for the most part today, so even sliding through the bans at this point is super surprising to me. Picked up as first pick, as already said, quite a good option. Now we're gonna go with Pierce here. That comp, just looking at it so far, doesn't make a lot of sense in itself, I believe, because usually you want to just open up the map with Pierce, but with Max now being able to heal your teammates, always going back into the back lines, she can heal up that Pierce standing in the bushes. Maybe a Griff or a Pearl again. A Griff is actually banned out. Pearl maybe as last pick for the side of Reject to make sure that that Pierce has an even better matchup, an open map for him. I think this comp can work out quite wonderfully.
There's the Gray, and I'm wondering if they bring out something like a Barrier or a Thrower here, or if they pair it with one of those Assassins or Tanks. Nobody's dared to do that in this draft specifically quite yet, but ZETA Division have definitely messed with a lot of them in past. Obviously, I've mentioned the Mortis several times, but Draco, Frank, even Mina is big in this region as well, so I'm curious if they add their flair of aggression, because I think if you go Thrower here, you're kind of locking yourselves into a 4-5 turn that's quite awkward.
I think so, also. So, yeah, let's consider that one. Final selection for ZETA Division. Need to be accounting for the possibility of a thrower. Edgar is going to be the necessary aggression to deal with that. You have a couple of jumps that you can make use of. And with the Indestructibles in play and no wall break so far, also the, I guess, denial of wall break with that Griff ban, I think that Edgar should be a pretty solid selection here. It is going to take an ammunition for Levi to be able to use the Pierce gadget that blasts people away, and I feel like even in the face of an Edgar, it might not even be worthwhile to do that, just to take your extra ammo instead. Instead, reserving the last pick for something that's going to repeal the Edgar.
I would have honestly liked to see Pearl come out of ZETA Division here themselves. They could have broken open the map, therefore also throwers wouldn't make a lot of sense. Plus, Pearl is just so good right now into the Max on the other side. They have nothing really to account for that. The Edgar's gonna have a tough time into the Pierce if he plays the repelling gadget into Max, if she decides after all to go for the phase shifter. Now on the right side, we have Shade come out here. They also want to capitalize on a map that isn't gonna be broken open. The Pierce isn't gonna have the best of times now and such a closed map, but overall, good comp from Reject. I kind of favor that one.
Fun set of compositions here. It's going to be Gray plus Edgar and Ims on the other end. The long range from Pierce, the stability of Max, and of course the playmaking ability of Shu on that Shade, who's trying to get his circular ring around these enemies. Suzuki will make that rather easy. He's just going to dive headlong at the enemy side. Batman now in a one-on-one shotgun interaction with Melty, but the faster blasters get through. Suzuki able to round that corner. Will stay up a little bit longer, but it's going to be hard to keep himself alive.
Yeah, I just trust in the ZETA composition here. Edgar's going to shut things down early game, and then we'll see if Batman can properly take advantage of this to get a teleport on mid. There'll be a little pull there onto Melty, and now that teleport is in place. Shu, however, is able to get that kill. Shitampo in position, and that teleport did not make much sense to me. It's as if ZETA are just feeding at this point because these aren't going to go anywhere at all.
Reject are meeting them straight at that teleporting point too, which a lot of the times with a great comp is how you want to go against it. It's why in the past when Chester was relevant, we see Chester meeting you with a shotgun effect, waiting for you with a burst of damage, but it's ZETA who pushed through it all, now expanding to about 60%. Levy hates to use these L-shaped wall. He doesn't want to be around it, so Shu going to try and branch out for his teammates. The extra speed going down as well as super out from Pierce. Suzuki left all alone. Batman from the long range just trying to make contact, but not going to be able to 3v1 at all. So it's ZETA with a marginal lead here, but the pushback from Shitampo, they just keep rotating in brawlers. They can't preserve this.
Pretty much, and now it makes sense why they decided to go into mid one by one, because they knew that they would be able to get supercharge out of that, even though they were giving percentage to Reject along the way. All it's going to take is a single solid end super in order to get this accomplished, but look at all the ammo waiting for Levi. He's able to completely laser Shitampo. Doesn't matter in the end. It's going to be enough HP for ZETA to lock this one in, but that was pretty deadly. I mean, if you are cycling your respawns and teleportations, then sure, Pierce is allowed to sit with 5 little ammo capsules.
It's funny that in the previous set, it was the Gray combination that absolutely dug the dirt for ZETA Division, and now they're just pioneering it themselves. And even though the kill-death ratio probably wasn't great, ultimately in Hot Zone, it's about getting to the middle of the map. Like Sonny said earlier, feeding the Gray is a huge part of how this goes down. If Batman gets it early, that means ZETA Division don't have to all 3 be alive at all times. They just need one person with pinky toes in the middle of the map.
The reality is that you are going to be feeding that Gray no matter how you want to spin it, because it's either that or you make your team fight a 2v3. Okay, Shade, it's not optional for him to engage in this battle. Going to be going for Batman right now. Doesn't seem like he has a walking cane, and it's a chained super for Shu as Batman and Shitampo seek open ground, and Shitampo is able to shut down Shu with a caustic charisma. It'll be a speed for Melty to return. He just cannot really afford to die out here, but gets taken down anyway. ZETA Division are all over this point, and Suzuki is tearing up Reject's backlines. We're nearing a 70-5 percentage.
Yeah, ZETA Division just picking apart this Reject composition. It hasn't felt like Reject's been able to play as a full unit in a little bit here. Now Levy just trying to make the best of the situation. A super going down, Reject traveling up the map, but it is Edgar beating them where they stand. Fisticuffs flying, dives in and out, bunny hops underground, above ground. It does not matter. It is ZETA pouring out the kills in a convincing set.
It's what we needed to see from ZETA after they were completely out-drafted in the previous set. They are able to show that they can do the same, but keep in mind, we've seen set sweeps, and you know, it's a best of 3. Like, what does a sweep really mean? But I think we've seen complete outdrafts go both ways, and neither of them occurred on the map that that team selected.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to continue to winning the maps that we have not selected. It's actually insane what is happening here. I honestly liked the comp from Reject, but especially in that game 2, an unfortunate turn of events, and they decide to be super scared of Batman, who was arguably carrying in the first one, playing super well, but they were so scared of feeding that Gray in the second game that by the time they finally decided to go in, ZETA already had claimed 48% of the map and had the Gray super anyways. And this is usually where the Gray cog will shine the most. So after that, it was just smooth sailing for them, 107% in the end. So Reject played a bit too hesitant for me in that one, especially Shu. Just feed the Gray at this point. You have really good comp to deal with the teleport. We saw it in the first one, but in the first one as well, ZETA already had 30% by the time Reject ever got into the map.
You saw it in that first game, but just Levi had a plethora of bullets on the ground. Just able to add into the additional ammo. That 479 DPS really showing there in the stat line. Despite all the kills, again, it really is all about getting your team into that hot zone. And that's one of the unique things that Gray can bring to the table. Especially with that M super, you get a little moment of just breath work. You can activate the super, and then obviously, depending on star power choice, you go with the one that heals you so you can try and stay up and preserve your life as long as you possibly can. And like Sunny said, in that game number 1, they had enough of a lead to where they could just hold on. They coasted the rest of the way through. It got to the 90s, but nonetheless, just enough built off in the early game to just kind of hold on.
It was kind of funny to witness ZETA pretty much going one by one, and I'm just thinking, what are we even doing here? They're getting instantly vaporized the moment that they appear on the point. But it makes sense if you can get a single shot off and you're against an entire team that you're able to hit them all with your single shot, then it sort of works out, even though it was a narrow percentage that they won by in game number 1.
Even more so then, game 1, ZETA Division has gotten a pretty decent lead, so even just cycling deaths is going to be enough for them to take the game. In the second one, the adaptation from Reject isn't to therefore make sure they get some percentages in the game at the very beginning when Gray doesn't have his TP set up. Instead, they try to really not feed the Gray and they're super scared. This can't happen again. Reject, you have what it takes to turn things around here, to still be in contention for that LCQ slot. This is, again, ZETA Division's map pick, so therefore Reject is going to win, right?
That is how it's been going. I'm looking out for Cordelius here, particular on this map as well. ZETA Division, it's one of the unique ones they've used as an anti-tank kind of brawler. Obviously, been used to seeing them use those aggro brawler, and of all teams, they're one that are prone to using the nausea every once in a while, so there's a little bit of control in these fellas.
Yeah, could see it. Could go to Reject's territory and fight them on their own terms. It's a first selection of Shade. What could possibly have happened in the bans to permit this? Okay, and they're like all Shade counters, so hey, it makes sense. But there are other ways to deal with this. I mean, we can break walls open other ways. Colt is entirely viable. He's like just outside of like the front of the meta right now, but you may just have to break walls if you really want to be able to deal with that.
Guns.
Yeah.
Breaking open the map definitely makes sense into that Shade. Once again, by the way, global bans aren't featuring Star Nova, therefore every single time Reject has last pick here, they have to expend one of their regular bans just for this one brawler. A bit unfortunate here, ZETA Division gets first pick again. Now, Shade into Pierce and Cold. You'd think that Pierce and Cold have matchup here, Kenny. On the left now, still with a couple of ranged options open, Max would have been the perfect answer, but she's actually been banned out, so maybe Reject saw this coming.
I'm not sure what ZETA Division end up doing here because Colt's going to be an excellent architect. He's going to break open this entire map with either the Bullet Storm or the Silver Bullet, and then Pierce can just line up shots. If shots are landing properly, that's where the right-hand side can shine. But here's that nausea that I was talking about, and maybe ZETA Division were just planning for this. If Shade, then they do this. Well, we'll have a nausea in the back heels. Clearly, it's a brawler they're confident in, but no matter how you spin it, I don't think this is easy pickings for the Shade. It's going to take him a little bit to charge that super, and until he does, he's a non-factor in the game.
Well, another thing I would say is just like the way that Pinball Dreams plays is you have a couple of side lanes that are important to break open, and you're only going to be able to get rid of one of them for free as Colt. So that just means that Shade's going to have to sit behind the other side, essentially, and be this threat. I think also there's just like big snowball potential with Shade. If you can get a first interaction your way, then you're able to get a goal off of that in the early game. Pinball Dreams is not necessarily like the characteristic map for that to happen, but I still see it as a strong possibility. Melty's going to have to do really, really well on this Colt, and also I think ZETA Division are just going to have to get lucky, basically, that they don't place the Shade on the Colt lane to boot.
If I would have had to guess, I would have again said Pearl here, helping out the Colt, opening up the map would have been a good answer also into Mina, but I'm fine with Mac too. Recently buffied up, she's been shining so far in every single monthly final, picked up amongst one of the most picked up brawlers overall. Heading into set 4 now. Can ZETA Division close it out here?
A big moment in Reject's season. The chapters are running out, and if they want this storybook to continue, they are going to have to get a shutdown in Shitampo. It's a panic kick over to the right-hand side as Shu just has to fire one down the middle. Batmans can still soup this up, though. Shitampo doesn't quite get the ball in time, and even if he did, I think he was going headlong into something like Levi and Melty, so I'm not sure that was a guarantee either way.
Yeah, I think he just wants that hypercharge. You can even see he's like not hitting some of the crits so he can get even closer to it. And he's gotten exactly what he's bargained for. That plus the super just before the ball is scored. 36 seconds in, it's already a goal for ZETA. They might be able to bring us to match point lickety-split. Let's see, ZETA making a beeline for the back lines and should be able to get a double kill onto Melty. Make that a full team wipe for ZETA. They get this one accomplished nice and quick.
So much for Shade being a non-factor. That's
Yeah.
crazy. They still got him up and running in no time. That engine was moving, and Shade able to get some super kills. I mean, that's really impressive considering that this squad on the other end outranges him by a mile. But the hard part of this is ZETA Division can get up and running so much faster. They require a huge wall break here. Reject immediately have to fall on their back heels just to get the sheer amount of HP up the middle of the map.
Love the wall break from Melty. It doesn't necessarily deny the lane right off the beginning of the game, but it does help them from getting snowballed by ZETA, which was really the risk facing this Shade. They're going to land their shots nice and accurately, which was part of the difficulty in game number 1, is that Colt was not really able to do much besides break the wall. We're still waiting for that next wall break. Which one is it going to be? ZETA lurking on the left side has to know that that'll be coming any second now.
It's awkward as well because Nina doesn't mind the open space. She can operate, dance around, use that regular shot for jukes, and even a windmill just like you see there. Barely missed the 3K plus damage marker, and Levi multitasking, runs straight at the ball. Melty will be gunning that right-hand side, but all the snakes are going to make an impact. The shoe slowly goes away. A clever use of the toolbox there. Those are the little things pros are going to do really well. Instead of losing that form, might as well exhaust a little bit of a gadget just to keep yourself back up and reload that super faster.
Min-maxing the HP as Meg, but still taking a lot of damage. You have to note that. Also, make note of the fact that Melty decided to break open the enemy goal. He's not even really thinking about the right side, and ZETA isn't thinking about it either. He's still decided to go on this left side when he's offered a meager 2 walls, just because he knows that he has the dodges to weave into range. Goes for the long arms, but it doesn't really go the way that he wanted. Those danger noodles from Batman are going to be helpful in moving forward. They're pretty much buying time for ZETA to get forward again, because in these walls, he's going to absolutely thrive.
Shu just dwindling away, and now ZETA Division are pouncing. A hypercharge going down for Levi, and he knows he needs every ounce of it, but even still, not enough. An awkward kick to that left-hand side, maybe anticipating that Shu was close to a super, but Suzuku still in position. Now a pass away. Awkward little dribble here as he dishes it over to Batman. Batman going towards ZETA in the back line, looking to shred through every single member. They're just padding the stats at this point. It's a ZETA team wipe and an easy knock through with 30 seconds on the clock. Reject are going to have to sprint down this map.
Gonna have to spring into action immediately, and they have a couple of hypercharges to do so, but no super to pair it with is the biggest concern. Melty now forward, immediately poisoned, and there's not really much he can do. The ball's positioned forward for Shu to pick up. ZETA wants to clear it, can't get it. In fact, Shu might be able to walk this in. Suzuku doesn't, cycle that super forward, and it's gonna be a goal as the final few seconds expire, and we head to overtime.
Big time playmaking coming out of Reject, fighting for essentially their playoffs right now, but a hypercharge from Batman will take away all signs of hope. ZETA just punches one through, back to the right-hand corner, and off you go, Reject. ZETA Division back to another grand finals.
Reject showed their best, but unfortunately the only set that they took today was Gray and Doug. And I think, honestly, that is the direction that they need to head. I think they absolutely deserve to win that set. And they got to stretch the rubber band here. They got to be able to play the aggressive, and they also have to stay true to their roots, playing the stuff they're good at and keeping up to speed with the current meta. Versus ZETA Division, though, that is not really the team that you want to be forced to experiment against. And despite their best efforts to draft this, the Shade was simply too strong. Keep in mind, it was Shade immediately when the draft started, and there was not a proper enough reaction. ZETA just solved this with the dance.
Reject is now hoping that Rival doesn't make it through their semi-finals, so their post-season dreams are still alive. We still saw some of them smiling after this, but ZETA, frankly, broke their ankles in that last goal. You'd think that on overtime, this Colt and Pierce comp is going to shine even more, but ZETA on Shade just... What more can you say than